Hey everybody, Reed Price here. I play the role of Rob Shandon on Sullivan's Crossing, and you're listening to Corman Productions' Deep Dive TV Podcast with Dave and Stacie.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from the Corman Productions Deep Dive TV Podcast with my co-host Stacie, and we're doing a rewatch with us. We previously had just done this with From Season 1. Now we're doing Sullivan's Crossing Episode 1. We're doing this with Sullivan's Crossing coming back in 3 weeks for Season 3.
Yeah, so you've got 3 weeks to rewatch Seasons 1 and 2, get all caught up on what's going on at the crossing.
And watch the rest of our podcast on it as well.
Yeah, we've got podcasts on all 20 episodes, plus a lot of interviews and great stuff in our Sullivan's Crossing playlist, so make sure you check all of that out. Let's see, Season 3 starts in Canada. It airs on CTV on April 27th. Streaming the next day on Crave. In Australia, it airs April 28th on Stan. And here in the US, Season 3 starts on the CW on Wednesday, May 7th at 8 p.m. And then our episodes our podcast about the new episodes will be dropping immediately following the East Coast linear stream. So Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Is when you can come back and hear us talk all about it.
All right, if you're not familiar with how this works, basically we're going to watch the episode on mute, and as we're watching, we're going to talk about things as we go along. Probably bragging about some of the people that we now know. Because
we've come a long way since we watched Season 1, Episode 1.
You can either watch with us, or you can just hang out with us, whatever, your choice.
If you want to watch with us, you're going to want to go ahead and load the episode up. We are using the CW app. If you're in another country watching on a different platform, you may have a slightly different cut of the episode than us. So sorry about that. Can't do anything about that. It has come to our attention that the CW episodes tend to be a little bit shorter than the other versions of the episodes that exist. But also we're going to have ad breaks. So if you're not watching the same exact thing as us, you might have a hard time keeping on pace. But we're going to play the episode straight through. And we're not going to pause or cut or edit this in any way.
Yep.
So it's going to be as close to you being able to follow along with us as possible.
Yep. All right, let's do this thing.
All right, we're going to hit play in 3, 2, 1. And there we go. There's the hospital. This is Boston. And right away, we have our big case. There is Dr. Maddie Sullivan. Nurse, I forget her name, but she's the mean one.
The mean one.
Oh, by the way, we are specifically talking about this episode, but this may contain spoilers for the first 2 seasons. It is a rewatch.
Right.
There's Jamal Patterson. He's not in great shape.
No, he's not looking too good.
Driving was Kyle Markiff, who seems to be fine. He just has some broken bones. Maggie's definitely more worried about Jamal, because, he looks like he's not doing so great. The nurse that's with Kyle Markiff, we're only going to see the back of her head, but that is our friend...
Faith Shavs?
Faith Shavs.
Shavs? I thought I was going to get it right.
I think in this scene we only see the back of her head. We do see more of... There she is. We see more of her in later episodes. But that is Nurse Faith. She's a great supporter of the channel. We love her. Thank you so much, Faith, for always being there for us. She's our biggest cheerleader, I think. So he's just worried about when he can play again. I forget what they play. Football? Soccer?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. But again, it doesn't matter anymore because he's not going to be playing anything ever again.
We're watching in mute, so sometimes we miss things because it can be hard to read and talk all at the same time. But that's because we can't play the audio for you, or YouTube would not like that.
Yes, they would, basically not allow this video to be viewed.
All right, so Jamal's going through it. Again, Maggie's worried about him. He's going to the OR. And there is Kyle's mom, Claire Markiff. This is Shelly Thompson, friend of the channel. We've had her on for an interview. Go check that interview out.
She's also a published author and director. She directed Dawn, Her Dad, and the Tractor, which is another thing that we covered on this channel.
Yep, that's on our movie playlist. Reed Price won an award for that movie.
Yes, that's
and
right.
And she Shelley Thompson wrote and directed that screenplay, and then her book Roar is based on the movie, and that's what we talked to her about in our interview with her, mostly.
Right.
We talked about this too, of course.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Oh, nice little shot that we have here of
So Maggie had a rough night, right? She got out late. She's freaking out, and there is
Andrew.
fucking Andrew. That's his name. I'm sorry. That's his name.
Played by Alan Hacko. I'm pretty sure he's the actual actor. Is a swell guy. Andrew. We don't really like him on this channel very much. Now it's funny because I didn't hate him in the first episode.
I hated him the whole way through.
Really?
He's like, hero, I'm surprising you. I'm gonna take you to your gala, and she's like, I hate surprises. He should know that. Why did you not tell her you're coming?
I remember Lindora, in our interview with her, she mentioned that she started hating Andrew about here in this scene.
Yeah,
in his car.
it's his first scene.
Right, yeah.
Me too. He's like,
Well, it was at least 30 seconds of not hating the guy.
He's like talking to her about moving in together, and
yeah.
So they're long distance. He lives 2 hours away. We don't know exactly where he lives, but 2 hours from Boston. He might live here in Connecticut. Where we do.
Probably.
He didn't say which direction he lives 2 hours from Boston, but they're in a long distance relationship. They've never even lived in the same town. And here he is. I'm going to try to get a job at your hospital so we can move in together.
Right.
Which is silly.
Yeah.
Like that they've never even lived in the same town, and he's like, let's move into the same house.
Right. Yeah, I didn't hate him here, but man, did I grow to the point where every time he shows up on screen, I groan. But it is fun making fun of the guy, that's for sure.
It is.
And talking about how much of a garbage human being he actually is.
But she doesn't look happy to see him, you know, and that's pretty telling that she's really not that into this.
Right.
I mean, he's trying to convince her right now that they're good together, and she's just like, yeah, I have a place I gotta be.
Right, yep.
So we're at the gala. She is getting an award tonight. There's her mother.
There's Phoebe, who's another person that, for the longest time, I didn't like. And there's Walter. He's a garbage human being, too. Basically, the people in... Oh, and Bob Lynn. Yeah, that's another person that we got to interview. He was in From, the first episode, anyway.
He was in the first, like,
first couple. Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yep.
As Frank Pratt.
Yep.
And here he is playing Bob Hollis. He is Maggie's business partner. They have a practice together. He's happy to be here supporting her in this award she's going to win. Everybody's having a great time.
Yeah.
For the next 30 seconds.
Right. It's not going to last very long, unfortunately. But enjoy the wine and champagne while you can.
And Faith, Nurse Faith, is in here, in the crowd here somewhere. She pointed that out to me recently.
Oh, okay.
She said all the hospital employees are here at the gala.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's kind of amazing how many people we've actually talked to.
It really is.
Yeah. I mean, Faith is basically a friend of ours.
A lot of them are.
Yeah.
You know, when we covered this episode, we were just like, yeah, we'll check out an episode of Sullivan's Crossing. Not our usual genre, right?
No.
We watched this episode because of Reed Price, who's in From. We'd interviewed him, and this finally came to the U.S. about 5 months after it aired in Canada, and we were like, yeah, we're going to check it out to support Reed and just see what this show's all about. We're going to cover one episode of it. And now it's one of our headline shows that we do. Yeah,
we weren't sure if we were going to cover every episode or every other episode or what, and I thought nobody would actually care. But yeah, it ended up being one of our top viewed videos, so I'm like, okay, I guess we're sticking with this series.
And I'm glad we did, because I like it. I'm having fun with Sullivan's Crossing.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward compared to other stuff we cover, and I like that. It's kind of just a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Where it's predictable and sweet and dramatic and funny and romance and just all these, like, but just kind of little moments, you know? You don't have to think about it too hard. We don't have to theorize and make guesses and keep a list of notes.
I mean, we still do, but just not as deep as something like From.
Right. Which is funny because it's filmed right down the street from From, and it has so many of the same background actors and under 5 actors.
Jamie McGuire, who is also a friend of ours, and we've done a couple interviews with, is somewhere in this series.
He is somewhere in season 1 background. So as you're rewatching season 1. Keep an eye out for him. I've not spotted him yet. He's somewhere. He shouldn't be hard to miss. You know, the bright red hair. He's in there somewhere. And if you don't know who that is Smiley Creature from and Jamie is amazing. We have 2 interviews with him, so check those out if you haven't, if you're a fan of From, that is. And if you're not a fan of From, just turn this off and go watch From, please.
Yes. Yep. You absolutely should do that. It's a criminally underrated show.
So Maggie is accepting the award. Her stepdad, Walter, had just introduced her. He's also a neurosurgeon, the reason she became one. And she's interrupted by the FBI.
That is never a good sign.
And one of these agents we talked about somewhere in some other show was in something. I don't remember who,
where, or
what show it was, but some other series, probably From.
Maybe The Sinner?
Maybe The Sinner. We did season 4 of The Sinner. It was also filmed in this area. But I remember somebody was an FBI agent in this episode.
Right. Andrew wasn't complicit in any of that, right?
Not that it's come out. No.
Right.
I mean, he lives 2 hours away.
Right.
He's not involved in her practice at all.
But Walter and Phoebe, well, Walter definitely.
I mean, we'll learn that,
right.
by the end of the season. Oh, now we have an ad break, so.
That's awesome.
So if you're watching somewhere where there's not ads, I don't know, pause or something. So yeah, Walter, we'll find out, is kind of like in deep.
Yeah.
With Dr. Hollis. I was about to call him Dr. Man. But Maggie, she's innocent. She knows nothing. She has no idea what's going on. She's like, why am I being arrested? I have no idea what's going on. So Bob was arrested. She was arrested. Hauled off by the FBI.
So, the crime was overbilling again? I don't remember.
It was, I mean, you don't learn until I think season 2.
Right.
All season 1 we were like, what exactly happened?
Right.
It was insurance fraud.
Oh, okay.
Or malpractice or something.
Right.
They were billing insurance for customers that didn't exist or something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought they were just overbilling.
They were
Which
doing
is a crime in itself.
They were doing something shady with insurance billing.
Gotcha.
I don't know if we even got the full details, but it had something to do with insurance, and it was bad.
Yes.
To the point where he lost his license over this. We don't know that yet, but you'll learn that eventually.
Right.
And she ends up getting cleared of the charges, which we will learn that in a minute. But it's too late. They did pretty irreparable damage to her
reputation.
Her reputation. I mean, I don't know. Is this realistic that they would come and arrest you at a public event like this while she's on stage accepting an award?
Yeah.
Seems a little over dramatic.
For the crime of insurance fraud, I think that's a little bit much. It's not like anybody murdered anybody, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they would probably just get you home.
It feels a little like if this was real, like they're intentionally just trying to over publicize the situation and hurt their
basically
reputation.
Use them as an example.
Yeah.
Man, there's an awful lot of commercials.
A lot of commercials. But the CW is free.
Yes.
That's the trade-off.
Yes.
Lots of ads.
Mm-hmm. And our secondary co-host is Lily, who's over here sleeping.
Is she on camera?
She is.
She is.
At least part of her.
She's down here.
Yep. See, right
She's
there.
sleepy girl.
All right, and now we're back to the show.
All right, back at the same exact shots of the hospital we saw at the beginning. No, it brought us back to the beginning of the episode. Come on, CW. Okay, well, how are we gonna handle that?
I don't know. I guess we're just gonna keep rolling and hope for the best.
Okay, so if you're watching, you definitely need to pause if you're trying to keep up with us, because after the ad break, it brought us back to the beginning of the episode, which is not cool. I was like, that's the same exact shot. Yeah, it literally was. So I'm fast forwarding now because,
all right. Here.
Well, CW, yeah. Go.
I can make us watch ads.
There we go.
Okay.
It's up.
I thought I was gonna have
Okay,
us
so
ads again.
I need to concentrate not to sing, because I know the theme song's playing right
Yes.
now. Now, we don't actually have the theme song intro here. It's just literally playing through the scene.
Right.
This will be the song. We've got the credits rolling on the bottom.
Beautiful shots of Nova Scotia.
It's such a beautiful area. I definitely hope we get to go there someday.
Yes.
She's driving to Sullivan's Crossing. She's in the town of Timberlake right now, which I remember being very confused about, like, what's a town and what's a place. And I'm still confused watching this episode because the way they talk about Timberlake, like it's a whole different place. She just ignored a call from Andrew. So there's the
I would
Timberlake,
too. I
Nova
would never
Scotia
think of
sign.
Andrew.
Timberlake, of course, is a fictional town. But we are filming. Oh, there's Shannon's Diner. We don't go to the diner this episode. That was it. We just got to see the exterior shot of it.
It's funny because the whole point of us watching this show was because of Reed Price.
Yeah.
He's barely in this episode.
He's barely in this episode.
Yeah.
He pops in like at the end for like one scene.
Well, he's at the picnic.
Right.
But,
For one scene.
Right. Oh yeah.
So now she's at the crossing, which from my understanding after 2 years is that Sullivan's Crossing is within the town of Timberlake.
Right.
But at the barbecue, when Sydney and Maggie are talking about it, she's like, does Lola still live here? And Sydney says, no, she lives in Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
I'm just so confused by like these dynamics of these places.
Gotcha.
So here we go, Sullivan's Crossing, beautiful lake, beautiful everything. And you know the other thing I'm really confused about is where we are. What's the timeline of this series? Like, when are we? How much time passes?
Oh, yeah.
Is it summer right now? It feels like it's always summer, but also it feels like time's passing too.
Right.
At different parts. And I'll talk about this when we get to season 3. Just pay attention to the timeline. And if anybody who's rewatching, pay attention to the timeline, because we're going to talk about that when we get to season 3.
So we were just introduced to Frank and Edna. Frank played by Scott Jackson.
Tom Jackson,
my bad. And Edna is played by Andrea Menard, who has a striking resemblance to the lead in Gilmore Girls, whose name I can't come up with right now, but yeah, she looks like her.
Yeah, you've said that before.
I have.
And I see some resemblance. I wouldn't call it a striking resemblance.
Okay.
So she's looking for Sully, who we don't know yet, but that's her father.
Yes.
If you're watching this, when the first time you watch this episode, you have no idea where she is or why she's here or what's going on.
It's also funny that they kind of make Maggie unlikable in the first episode.
I think it takes a few episodes to warm up to her.
Yeah.
And you know what I think it is? She's just so closed off.
Yeah.
She's scared to make connections with people. She's scared to let anybody in. I think it's very intentional, the way that she comes off.
Yeah. And here is Sully, played by Scott Patterson. I think he was in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, he
and
played Luke
One Tree Hill.
in Gilmore Girls. I don't think he was in One Tree Hill.
No?
Chad Michael Murray was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've never watched either of those series, but
I watched a little bit of them, but
he was a lead in Gilmore Girls.
Gotcha.
He ran the diner.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think pretty much Scott Patterson is probably the best actor on the show. Certainly the most experienced. Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite actors in the show, other than maybe like Chad Michael Murray and, of course, Reed Price.
Okay, so here's the Smith family, who we're going to see throughout season 1.
Oh, I forgot that this was season 1.
What do you mean?
I mean, this particular storyline.
Oh, yeah. I was like, yes, we're watching the first episode.
No, that's not what I meant.
Okay,
but that kid was Oliver Boyle, right?
Oliver Boyle, yeah. He's in Dawn of Dad and the Tractor.
Yep.
I feel like something else he was in. Was he in From? No.
I don't think so.
That wouldn't make sense.
No.
I feel like we talked about him another time, too.
I'm pretty sure we did. I don't remember in what, though.
Oh, was he in Kids vs. Aliens?
Might have been.
He was in something.
Yeah.
We've been covering a lot of Nova Scotian television the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Edna put them in cabin 12.
Did she charge him? Is it for free?
You know, they have a really bad habit of like just not charging people at all, upgrading people to their VIP cabins and not charging them.
Yes. And it's a wonder that this.
It's
this
a wonder
Sullivan's
that they're
Crossing is
having
struggling.
trouble financially. We're going to get our very first hint of that in just a moment.
Yes.
When they go inside, we're going to get a shot, an overhead shot of like the dining room table. There's a bunch of bills on it. Blink and you'll miss it, but there's your first little foreshadowing of where we're going for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's literally going to take 2 seasons for that to resolve.
And in addition to that, during these scenes, you'll see that Sully's definitely a bachelor. He lives in this big house by himself. He's not a very good housekeeper. There's the bills.
Ah, okay.
Next to that, Sullivan's Crossing, the green, like the tin type mug. I really want one of those. I really hope we get some merch for this show. There hasn't been any yet.
Yes.
Whether CTV sells it or CW sells it, somebody make some merch for this show, please.
I mean, we could.
I mean, licensed merch.
Not legally, of course, but...
I want some licensed Sullivan's Crossing merch, the mugs, the t-shirts. They sell all this stuff at the Outpost. Let's get it out in the world for real, please.
Maggie action figure, maybe?
So she's observing how much of a mess this house is. And I remember when we first covered this episode, you didn't catch any of that. You're like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's not that bad.
It is!
I've seen worse.
They did like all these pans directly showing us like, here's the dirty dishes, here's the sandwich fixings just left on the counter.
Okay.
Bachelor.
Yes.
Okay, so she's going up to her old bedroom, which is where she's staying. And I don't know if it's actually been said yet, but we'll learn Maggie's only been back here one time since she left as a child. She came back when she was 15. She left when she was a kid with her mom. She came back one time when she was 15. Didn't go well.
Yeah, she has a kind of beef with Lola, who we haven't met yet.
Haven't met. We'll meet her later in the episode. And I know we've gone back and forth over this, but did we settle on how old is Maggie supposed to be? Close to 30, I think, is where we landed.
Yeah, I think that was the case, yes.
That her and Sydney... No, I just broke it again. I was going to say her and Sydney and Rob. But Rob's older than them.
Right.
Rob's like 30. I don't know how old anybody is. I know she's older than Lola. And Rob's older than her. Right?
I think so, yeah.
But we don't know exactly how old they are. Okay, so here is childhood Maggie. They're painting this tree on her bedroom wall.
So, what's more accurate to how old, like, Scott Patterson is? Is this, like, CGI and some, like, dye to make him look younger, or is that how he actually looks?
I don't think they aged him for the series.
No, okay.
I mean, he was a grown-up on Gilmore Girls.
That's right.
That was 30 years ago.
So they made an effort to make him look younger.
Yeah, I think that was them, dyeing his grays and his beard and stuff like that to make him look younger.
Maybe some makeup to make him look a little younger, too.
So he's a little uncomfortable with her being here, right? Like, nobody knows how to handle this. It's just, another ad break. Let's see if it comes back to the right place.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't, like, make us rewatch that section again. This will end up taking forever if it does.
So yeah, he's uncomfortable. Did he know she was coming? I think she told them she was coming, but not before she was on her way.
Probably,
right?
Yeah.
Because
probably.
The couple.
Which couple?
Tom Jackson and Andrew.
Frank and
Edna.
Yeah.
My goodness. See, we don't know anything. We don't have notes in front of us.
Right.
Names are hard. Frank and Edna, when she first got there, one of them said something that indicated they knew she was coming. Like they were waiting for her or something. It wasn't like she just appeared. Are you reacting to the ad on TV?
I am.
Yeah, there's something strange happening with
I don't know what that
shaving,
is.
shaving cream's my guess. Oh, Head and Shoulders.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
I don't remember. You were saying something about...
that they knew she was coming.
Right, yeah.
But, like, it's a 10-hour drive, so they probably have 10-hour notice.
Right.
She's probably like, I'm getting in the car and I'm coming to see you.
Right, and if I recall correctly, she didn't even tell her, like,
She didn't tell Andrew. So
Yeah.
he called her when she was driving. She ignored the call. They're going to talk eventually, probably in a minute here. And he yells at her and was like, why didn't you tell me you were leaving?
I mean, if you're dating somebody, he sort of has a legitimate beef.
Yeah, you probably should tell the people you care about that you're, like, leaving the country.
Your mistake is assuming that she even cares about Andrew.
Yeah. I mean, did she even tell her mom?
I'm not sure. I don't think I recall whether she did or not.
I mean, anytime you're getting in the car and driving 10 hours, people should know where you are. And
Right,
what
in
you're
case
doing.
you get into a car accident
Right.
or so that, you know, they know to go looking for you if you're missing. Or where to look, you know?
Right. But I don't think she necessarily owes him, like, an explanation of what she's doing. But she should have maybe told him.
Right. Well, Andrew's perspective, he probably believes that she owes him an explanation.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. That's what I mean.
yeah,
He thinks, you know, I think he has higher expectations.
right,
And she has, you know, she feels a lower obligation than she should. So
right.
they need to meet in the middle. And they're not very good at meeting in the middle. Okay, we're back.
Speaking of which, well, maybe I shouldn't talk about that, but we do have screeners for the series upcoming for season 3. So that's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Which is why we'll be able to release episodes right after they air.
Yep. I don't think we mentioned that at the top.
I mentioned that we'll have them immediately, but
Oh, yeah.
not like explaining what that
Right,
means
yeah,
for
yeah.
us. Okay, so she's sitting on the dock. This is where we're about to meet Chad Michael Murray's character of Cal. And I remember we had very differing opinions of this scene, too, the first time we talked about it.
Do you remember what my opinion was?
Well, the way I took it is he thinks that she is just a camper that wandered into the private residence and shouldn't be here.
Right.
And you didn't see that.
Gotcha.
She thinks he's hitting on her.
Right.
And he's just, like, trying to, like, get her to leave.
Right, yeah.
He offers to show her around, and she's not interested. But I think he's just being a good guy.
Well, I mean, Cal throughout the series is proven to be a good guy.
Right, he is a good guy.
Like, you know, someone like Andrew, he thinks he's a good guy, so he puts on this persona of acting like a good guy. Cal actually is a good guy.
Yeah.
And he proves it at every single turn. He takes the high road.
But he's trying to get her off of Sully's private deck.
Right.
And he's like, hey, do you need me to show you around? He's trying to be a good, like, employee, even though I don't think he's technically an employee. Like, I don't think he has a job of, like, working with guests.
Yeah.
He's more just like the handyman.
Right. He's a guest himself, and I
Right.
think he just kind of helps Sully out.
Yeah, like, I think he just does odd jobs for Sully, not necessarily, like, on payroll.
So their relationship gets off to a bad, rocky start.
Very bad through this whole episode, yeah. And here comes Sydney.
Yes.
Sydney Shandon, Lindora, who we also have interviewed.
Yep.
And she just arrives by boat, which is like the most random weird thing ever, because I don't think we see that again ever in this series.
Right. Is that guy just like, you know, like, is, like just escorting her, or?
Yeah, she just got a ride with him across the lake.
Hmm.
And I remember having a big issues with that these first few episodes too, and then I think I gotta let go of it. But like, how far is the town, the diner,
Right.
from Sullivan's Crossing? Maggie like runs there every day.
Mm-hmm.
She just had to take a boat to get here, but she's gonna like walk home. It's the whole like geographical. I need a map.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe if we ask nicely, the CW will provide it for us. But yeah, this is our introduction to Sydney. This is the sister of Reed Price's Rob's character. And they're having this lovely...
They're catching up.
Yeah, they're catching up because they haven't seen each other in a while.
Since, they were friends when they were kids.
Yeah.
They haven't really been in touch, from what they're saying.
And that's gonna
Maggie
be an
was in
issue.
touch enough to know that Sydney moved to New York, and she's surprised to see her here. But Sydney said she was in New York, but she came back to help her brother raise his kid. And it's kind of alluded here, but we'll get a more firm answer later that, you know, his wife died.
Yes.
He's a widow. He's a single dad now. And she's here to help him raise his son and run the diner and, you know, manage his life. But really, she's just running away from her own life.
Mm.
And I don't think that comes up this episode, but... there's a lot of that.
I'm very curious to see where her story goes. Okay, so this is
Roy.
He's played by I don't remember his first name, but it's his last name is Donat, and he's related to Peter Donat, who passed away a while ago. He played Mulder's father in the X-Files.
Okay.
Not this guy.
Yeah,
but his brother.
I don't have this actor's name in my brain. But this is our introduction to Roy, and Maggie's being a doctor, and Cal's just like trying to be like, get away from this man and leave him alone.
Right.
So she's trying to be all clinical and be like, he needs to get assessed, and which I remember we thought was funny because how do you know he's not assessed?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. She just makes a lot of assumptions right off the bat.
And then everybody gets involved. Sully's here and Edna's here, and they're all just kind of like treating Maggie like she's crazy.
Right.
Because they all know Roy. And
they know the situation more than she does, and she doesn't seem to get that.
Yeah. And, so Edna tells her, yeah, that's Roy. He just lives right down the street, and he'll be fine as soon as, Sully and Cal are going to escort him home. Mm-hmm. So he lives not in the campground, but really close to it.
I'm curious, does Maggie not know Roy at all?
It doesn't feel like she knows who he is.
Because she knows Lola.
She knows Lola. We'll find out later she knows Roy's granddaughter Lola, but she didn't appear to realize who Roy was in that scene. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's her call with Andrew.
Yay.
And this is where we learn Bob took the blame. She's been cleared of all charges, but the hospital doesn't want to work with her anymore, and she obviously doesn't have practice anymore because that blew up. So she doesn't know what to do with herself.
And when I watched the first episode, I wasn't like hissing every time Andrew appeared on screen, but I definitely do nowadays for sure. I'm kind of curious if he's in season 3 at all.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, but I'm not eager to see him. Nothing against Alan Hocko.
No, Alan Hocko, fine, good guy, or at least as far as I know. The character is who I have an issue with, not the actor. And actually, it's to Alan Hocko's credit that he manages to create a character that you just like hit, boo every time he appears on screen, that you hate as much. Like there were scenes in season 2, his last appearance, where I was actually starting to feel a little bit of sympathy for him, and that's a testament to...
and he ruined that real quick.
Yeah. But it's a testament to Alan Hocko's acting that I was, even close to feeling sympathetic towards him, because I hate the character.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, so we've got a scene with Frank and Maggie now.
I mentioned this prior in prior podcasts, but Tom Jackson was actually in a Star Trek Next Generation episode. He was in an episode in the 7th season called Journey's End. That was Leslie Crusher's final episode of that series. And he's a unique character for sure, and I like his bond with Sully. I don't know if that's evident in this episode or not.
There's a nice nod to their relationship that we don't really learn how they met each other until late in season 2 and what their deal is. There's a nice nod to it in this episode because I actually just recently watched this episode.
Oh yeah, I got you.
I watched this episode with my husband who hasn't watched the series, and he finally was like, "All right, I'm gonna watch Sullivan's Crossing." So we sat down and we watched this one episode. So it is all very fresh in my mind.
Got you.
There's a nice little nod to it at the barbecue, so I'll point that out when we get there.
Oh, is it when he's giving Sully crap?
I'll tell you what I mean when we get there.
Okay.
What are they talking about? I missed it. He's giving her a pep talk. I mean, that's his thing.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Was that this?
No, I don't think that line doesn't come up until like a couple episodes from now, but...
He's always full of, lots of advice and some sage wisdom.
It'd be, he's a Native American character.
Or indigenous peoples.
Indigenous
Because
people.
they're not in America.
Right. But it'd be very easy to turn him into a caricature, but they avoid that.
Yeah. So yeah, the setup is that this whole land around them is I forget what tribe he's from, but it was their land, and Sully has this basic like nice agreement that they're not going to do any construction and honor the land to the ancestors. And again, I don't know the name of that tribe. I would recognize it if they said it, but I don't think they're going to in this episode. So I'm not going to attempt it because I'll probably get it wrong.
Yeah, they're having an argument about
what
Roy
happened with
here.
Roy.
Yeah.
Because Sully thinks that she just wants to like send him off to a home because he's old. And
Right.
I mean, that's not where she was coming from. She was like, I think he needs medical attention. I feel like the whole Roy story wasn't necessarily handled great.
No, Sullivan's Crossing doesn't always fully handle its stories awesomely. It definitely takes some missteps here and there. I don't really watch Sullivan's Crossing for the great storytelling necessarily. I like the characters. I do like, a lot of the moments of the show. A lot of their handling of the actual plot.
We're in ad break again,
Yes.
by the way, if you're not.
Isn't always super great. We're in season 3 now. So, I mean, we kind of know what the show is and what it isn't, and you gotta love it for what it is.
Right.
And not, expect it to be the height of storytelling, which it's not. It's really not. But, I mean,
I do want to read the books eventually.
Yeah, it's still an enjoyable show.
So Sullivan's Crossing is based on a book series by Robin Carr.
Mm.
And all I know is that it's very loosely based.
Mm.
The books do not take place in Nova Scotia. They take place somewhere out west. I forget where exactly. Colorado or somewhere.
Yeah.
And, the characters' names are the same, but the story plots don't follow the books at all, from what I understand.
Mm. Yeah, there's some people that complain about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's always going to be the
obviously,
case.
of course, but...
Robin Carr also wrote the books that the Virgin River series is based on.
Yes.
So, I haven't watched Virgin River, but from what I understand, tonally, this series is very similar to Virgin River. And that's why, because they're based on the same authors.
Yeah, there's some people that have commented on videos saying that we should watch Virgin River because it's similar and has nothing on the plot twists that this series has. I guess there's a lot more plot twists in Virgin River than there are in Sullivan's Crossing.
I know Virgin River is a very successful series for Netflix.
Yeah.
So. And I think it has 7 seasons now, something like
7
that.
7 seasons, wow.
Yeah.
It's a good run. Is it still going?
It's still going, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, 7 seasons usually that good stopping point.
I don't know how long the book series are, how many books are in them, but I feel like she has a lot of books under her belt. Other series, too, besides these 2.
Oh, so there's other books based on her, other series based on her books?
No, I'm saying she has other book series.
Gotcha.
Besides the Virgin River series and the Sullivan's Crossing series.
Gotcha. Robin Carr, I think, doesn't she run a Facebook group?
I don't know if she runs a group. I know she's active on Facebook.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure. She might. Alright, we're back. And we're at the Outpost, which is the little shop / restaurant / reception area.
One thing this show does really well is that it makes you really want to go camping at Sullivan's Crossing and visit Nova Scotia for sure because it's beautiful.
So Edna's cooking. She's gonna give some food to Maggie. The stove's not working, and Maggie's like, "That's still not fixed." So it's been broken for decades.
Is this the episode where Cal is working on the copier? Or is it a different
No,
episode?
that's a different episode.
Okay.
But yeah, we're given all these little hints that Sully's kind of cheap. He doesn't like to fix things. If he can't fix it himself, it's not getting fixed.
Right. they're serving a lemon meringue pie. I kind of want some now.
So Maggie's complimenting Edna, saying she was like a second mother to her when they were kids. And Edna's touched by that, but she's also quick to tell Maggie, like, you know, you haven't kept in touch. I'm really kind of hurt by the fact that you just left and you didn't keep in touch with us. And
right.
So Maggie's like, okay, bye. just want to deal with that conversation.
She doesn't really deal with a lot of things, especially in these early episodes.
Yeah. Again, she's very closed off.
Yeah.
And I think already at this point, she's like, why did I come here?
Right, yeah.
Alright, so Sully and Frank are back. Okay, so they're talking about the barbecue tonight. There's a big event. Sully's supposed to be barbecuing. And Frank's kind of like, well, maybe you should just go hang out with Maggie.
Right.
And he's like, why would I do that?
Right. I mean, he doesn't have much of a relationship with her at this point.
And that's the point, is he, like, doesn't even think of her as his daughter. He said, yeah, I haven't been her father in a long time. And he's kind of like, I don't really want to be in the same room with her because I don't even know what to talk to her about.
Right. Yeah, it would definitely be an awkward situation.
Now, we already learned from her conversation with Sydney that Maggie's going to go to the barbecue. So she'll be there anyways. So it's not like him sitting out was going to be helpful.
Right.
Also, you know, this is his business. He should probably be at his event. Oh,
what did Maggie just overhear?
She overheard him saying that he's not her father, basically.
Gotcha.
And not caring about, you know, connecting with her, really.
You know, I don't even believe that's true. That he doesn't want to connect with her. I think he just doesn't know how.
It's very similar to Maggie. Like, okay, so they're at the barbecue, now they're cooking. And that's Finn, I think, right?
Yeah, that's Finn. That, yeah, you just got a pinwheel.
It's very similar to Maggie, right? We're saying how she's closed off, that she doesn't like expressing her feelings. She gets that from her dad.
Absolutely.
He's the same way, you know?
He's a very gruff guy.
Yeah.
He's an old school type of guy, yeah. Not really. And hey, we got Reed Price for the first time.
Reed Price, there he is. Great friend of the channel. He is also in From and plays Tom the bartender. Here he is Rob Shannon. He runs Shannon's Diner. Sydney's brother. They're both here. He's here to play because he plays guitar, apparently. I don't know if that ever comes back again after this episode.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, he's not here for the food this time. He's here to he's entertainment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they dropped that. And there's his son, Finn. I forget that actor's name.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
He's grown up a lot, hasn't he, in the last couple of
years?
Has,
yeah. They do that. They grow up fast.
And it's the problem with children on television.
Yeah.
So yeah, Maggie apologized for, like, missing Rob's wife's funeral. But she's missed, like, everything that's happened here since she's been an adult.
So why would she be specifically apologizing for
I'm sure she missed the wedding, too.
Yeah, right.
I think it was really just to tell the audience, like, yeah, his wife's dead. Like, that was how they brought that up, you know?
I mean, Sullivan's Crossing gets kind of awkward that way, and they're... Oh, hey, T. Thomason and Rafe.
Okay,
I can tell them apart now, but I had trouble back in the day.
Right? Okay, so we're meeting Connie.
Yeah.
What's her name? Lauren somebody is her the actress?
Lauren Boyle? No.
Something with an H, I think. Apologize. So that's Connie. Her son, Jackson, who works at the crossing and is a climbing instructor, which I totally forgot until I just read that line.
Yeah.
Offered to take Maggie climbing, and she's like, cool, let's do it. And then we have Rafe, who is played by...
Yeah, blanking.
Oh, that's going to bother me not knowing his name. Because I know his name, but it's just not coming to me right this second.
But T. Thomason is actually the son of Shelley Thompson.
Right.
Yeah.
Who we already met earlier. She played Claire Markiff.
Yeah.
Their characters are not related or intersect in any way, but they're both in the show.
Right.
at least in season 1, which is great. And it plays nicely off each other late in season 1.
Yeah, so we kind of lied. We're doing a little bit of editing.
Had some technical difficulties.
Yes, we did. So we were just talking about the fact that I don't know if we got the tail end of this conversation, but you were talking about how T. Thomason's and Shelley Thompson's arcs kind of intersected with each other in the sense that they were kind of like going through the same things. You want to talk about that again?
Yeah, so it's later in season 1. Should I keep playing or?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we're at the picnic still. Maggie and
34 minutes and 7 seconds into the episode.
Yeah,
that helps.
in case we got off a little.
Yeah.
Maggie and Sydney are talking. She brought tequila because Maggie mentioned tequila. Oh, just on this real quick, this is where I get really confused because she's like, "You got that in Timberlake," and then in a minute later she's gonna say that she's gonna act like Timberlake's really far away because that's where Lola lives, in Timberlake.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, so Shelley Thompson's character, Mrs. Markiff, is going through stuff with her son. And we're going to go to ad break. Okay. So the stuff that she's dealing with later in the season, and she's like, she'll start telling her story. And then Jackson, T. Thompson's characters, T. Thompson. I always mix them up, their last names, because they're just so similar but different. His character has some heavy stuff going on. He has a medical little scare, right?
Yes. Yep.
And the stories are cutting back and forth, and I don't remember exactly what episode this is. Late in season 1, and I just remember how beautiful it was knowing that that's the actors are mother and child.
Right. Yep.
Where the characters don't know each other at all. One's taking place in Nova Scotia, one's taking place in Boston, and I feel like I don't feel like it was intentional. Like,
right.
I don't feel like this was written for them or anything.
No, of course.
But just the way that the scenes are jumping back and forth between each other, and there's like this whole like discussion of like, so her character's dealing with stuff about her son.
Right. And
then we've got her real life son dealing with like, is he gonna live through this episode?
Okay, yeah, that episode.
And it was just it was beautiful to just know that that's actually mother and child. Mm-hmm. Even though that's not what the story was. But it just fit the discussion so well.
It wouldn't have made any sense at all, but it's a shame that T. Thompson and Shelley Thompson didn't get a chance to share any scenes together.
No, they didn't share any scenes together.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel it's very unlikely we'd go back to Claire Markiff again at this point.
They did in wow.
The Halloween party.
Oh, yeah, Halloween party, yeah.
Yes, they're both in that film, which we cover. That's another one that's on our movie playlist.
Yep.
Halloween party, which starred T. Thomason and Amy Groening.
Yep.
Who was in Dawn, Her Dad, and the Tractor.
Right. She was a supporting character in that film, and then she was actually a starring role in Halloween party.
They were the leads, and then Shelley Thompson had a smaller role. In that film.
Yep. Wow, we have covered a lot of that stuff, huh?
We have.
Right.
Because it just makes so much sense that it's the same people that just keep intersecting. The Nova Scotian film industry, we're back, just feels so like tight,
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on there and it's all the same people.
And even though we don't live there, it kind of feels like we're a part of it.
Yeah, I feel so much more connected to Nova Scotian television than anything happening in the States,
Yeah.
Like, if we go to Nova Scotia, I'll be looking at people on the street, and I'm sure I'll recognize people, because we recognize, like, 50 background actors now,
Right, yeah.
And they're there. I'm sure they're there. Where if I were to go to, LA, people go to LA to Star Search, I wouldn't recognize anybody, I'm sure, even if they were there.
Right.
But I'd recognize people in Nova Scotia. Alright, so Cal comes to the, okay, this is the scene I was telling you. So watch what happens here. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
So Cal offers Sully a beer, and Frank comes in and is like, nah, he's more of a coffee guy.
Right.
So it doesn't come up till way later.
Right.
Sully's an alcoholic.
And so is Frank.
And so is Frank, and Frank's his sponsor, and that's how they know each other.
Right.
And literally nobody knows that until like the end of season 2. or halfway through season 2.
Right.
And it's right here. It's in this first episode.
Yeah.
But it's so subtle that you don't catch on that that's what's going on.
That is a nice thing about the series, is it does do those subtle little moments beautifully.
Which is why everybody should go rewatch seasons 1 and 2 ahead of season 3, so that you just got all these little details fresh in your head. Even though it's a straightforward show, it does have some nice continuity, little things like that.
This is where Chad Michael Murray's character, Cal is learning that Maggie is his daughter.
Yeah, because he's like, what's her problem? She's kind of a bitch.
Right.
And he's like, oh, that's my daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Lola.
Oh, yes. Amelia Gunderson.
That sounds right. Whereas I thought Lola's last name was Gunderson.
Oh, okay.
Amelia Williamson.
Yeah, that's right.
Amelia Williamson plays Lola. Love her. Not a fan of Lola.
The actual character, though.
I don't hate her.
Right. I think she was better.
She was better in season 2.
Yeah.
I'm starting to like Lola a little bit. I don't hate her.
Right.
Kind of hated her in season 1.
Right.
But Amelia's great. Love her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else.
Yeah, I don't recall. I don't think so.
I'll have to take a look at her credits list again, because I do think she's pretty great, I think. Because I feel like the way we feel about Lola is exactly how we're supposed to feel about Lola.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And she's cute. She's like this sweet little kid.
Yeah.
Not a kid, but we're old.
Right.
Everybody's a kid.
Yep. I think this is where things start going off the rails. I think things are going to disintegrate between her and...
Yeah, Maggie and Sydney.
Yeah.
And this is where Sydney's kind of showing her resentment towards Maggie, just kind of ditching her.
But it's funny because, I think how they weave things here is very much different from, when we come back for episode 2.
I don't remember exactly where we are in episode to episode.
Right.
I can do a rewatch too, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where we know... She asked about Lola. It's where we learned that Maggie knows who Lola is, and there's some kind of bad blood between them, but it's going to be a few episodes before we learn what that's about at all. And really what's about is that Maggie has no idea who Lola is or what's going on.
So Cal's trying to apologize here, and Maggie's really not having it.
She shut him down.
And I don't think that anything, and I made this point in the podcast, that anything that Cal had done was so terrible that it couldn't be forgiven.
I don't know what he did, really.
Right, yeah. That's the thing, is I didn't understand why Maggie was so brutal to Cal over something, a mild misunderstanding at best.
They don't like each other.
Yeah, but then...
in that first moment.
Right.
Yeah, but that's going to change very quick.
Yes, and they're going to go on to have the greatest romance of all time.
We'll see. We'll see how the romance goes. They're finally together now after 2 seasons.
Right.
They are together at the end of season 2. We'll see how that goes in season 3. I'm rooting for them.
They break up in episode 1. Just kidding.
Well, you haven't seen the episode.
I have not.
I watched episode 1.
Right, yes.
So my lips are sealed. I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Nope.
Not talking about
Embargoed.
it, CW.
I know nothing.
But watch it soon, because then we have to, record.
Yeah. Gotta talk about that.
Okay, so she's leaving. She's like, you know what? This is a mistake. I shouldn't be here. I'm going home in the morning.
So, they just had a fight, right? Or is this where the fight is happening now? She revealed her resentment.
They kind of had a little tiff.
Yeah, and now they're having the full-blown fight here.
Right.
And it's pretty funny because for the most part, outside of a few moments here and there, they're probably the most solid relationship on the show.
No, another commercial break.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a great friendship. I mean, the fact that they're still friends at all. Maggie hasn't lived here since she was, 8?
Yeah.
And she came back 1 time since then?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still friends with some people I knew from elementary school, through social media or whatever, but...
Right.
She was so young when she left.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess they're a little younger than us. So maybe social media was already a thing by then.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put it into perspective of, what their relationship looked like. They know stuff about each other, so it's not like they've had no contact.
Well, we're saying they're 30, so they were 8, which is about 20 years ago, which puts us about early 2000s.
So yeah, they might have had MySpace accounts.
Yeah. Definitely not Facebook yet. But we were just on the heels of Facebook.
But the general consensus is that everybody's mad at Maggie because she didn't keep touch with anybody. Which is ridiculous because she was a very young child when she moved away.
Right.
Why would you be close with any of these people?
Right. Yeah. I mean, are you really placing the responsibility of keeping in touch on an 8-year-old?
They do, though. Like,
Yeah.
all of them do. Like,
Right.
Edna's so mad at her, like, you never call me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was a little child when you were friends. You should be the one maintaining contact with her.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the deal is that Phoebe kind of made that impossible.
Right. But, I mean, I get it. Like, she's a grown-up now, and she
Right.
could have reached out, but also, you're the more grown-up. You know, you were the grown-up when you knew each other.
Right.
So, if you want to have some kind of contact and relationship, you should be reaching out to her and establishing that.
Right.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like Maggie got, everybody's just mad at Maggie for no real reason. And, I feel like maybe they did do a great job making her feel welcome.
Maybe.
I get why she's like, I'm just going to go home tomorrow. This was a bad idea.
Right. I mean, if I were going to get that kind of treatment, not necessarily feeling welcomed.
Right. Like, her
I
dad's
think, yeah.
like, I don't care that she's here, basically. I mean, he doesn't mean it, but
Yeah,
that's
again,
what she
yeah.
heard,
Yeah.
you know. And, I keep wanting to call her Andrea. Edna, who she's trying to...
Edna is kind of similar.
She's
so.
telling Edna, you're like a second mom to me, and she chooses that moment to be like, well, you kind of suck. I mean, yeah, you're not making her feel welcome.
Right.
Okay, so she's calling her lawyer. She got a call from her lawyer, Scott. And I forget this actor's name, but he was in an episode of From.
Yes.
And he'll appear a few more times in this series.
He was also in one other thing that we covered as well. I don't remember what it was, but...
I think he was in Donner Dad and Tractor.
Okay, that's
was he the funeral guy?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that was it.
But yeah, he was in an episode of From. He was angry about... He was one of the people who was angry when the Colony House residents were moving into basements.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's her lawyer, and he's calling to tell her that she's being sued by Claire Markiff because her son died.
Yes.
The one that just had a broken leg.
Mm-hmm.
And they're blaming Maggie and the hospital for medical malpractice. And she's so confused because she's thought he was talking about the other one that actually was in critical condition.
Right.
And that's going to be the focus of, season 1 is what happened in that opening scene, and did she do her due diligence as a doctor?
And this is pretty much why she ends up staying in Sullivan's Crossing.
For season 1.
Right.
Yeah, because he basically said, just stay low. Don't go around the hospital. Don't talk to anybody. So she's just going to stay here. And that's the episode.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you have any new thoughts?
I don't know that I have new thoughts, but I remember not being totally sold on the series when I watched episode 1. I was like, I'm not sure if
you were like, I don't know if I like any of these characters.
Right,
they're all kind of suck.
Right. But I mean, as we went along, I grew to love quite a bit of them, and of course I love this series now.
Yeah. And I feel like we understand the characters so much now that it all makes sense seeing where we started.
Right.
I enjoyed rewatching it. I'm going to rewatch the seasons because my husband's going to watch them for the first time. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Just getting to hear someone's first perspective and, refreshing myself. I don't think we'll get all the way through before season 3 starts because he's slow at watching stuff.
Gotcha.
He doesn't binge stuff like we do.
Right.
But everybody at home, you have 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Rewatch seasons 1 and 2. And then season 3 is going to start in 3 weeks.
And watch the podcast on it.
Watch the podcast. We are going to do one more of these.
Yep.
We're going to circle around, and we're going to hit you back at episode 210. So watch all the episodes, and we'll do this one more time for the last episode that was out, 210. I forget the name of it. But the season 2 finale.
Yeah.
And then season 3 is going to start.
Yeah.
And I
exciting
told you
stuff.
already, I've seen one episode. It was good. A lot of good stuff, it looks like, is coming our way in season 3. I can't wait. I can't wait for it.
Yeah,
and
me
I can't
too.
wait till we can actually talk about it. Which will be
I'm excited.
soon.
And
so soon.
I'm really happy that we don't have to wait till
We don't
September.
have to wait until September. It's happening in May.
Yeah.
So we in the U.S., we're going to be 10 days behind Canada, which still sucks. We're going to be a whole episode behind.
It's
but
better than months
it's
behind.
so much better than seasons 1 and 2, where we were 5 months behind when CW got it compared to when it aired on CTV.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty awesome, I think, that we're all going to be fairly on the same page.
Right.
So make sure you come back to this channel and watch our season 3 discussions. And if you haven't watched any of our season 1 and 2 discussions, if this happens to be your first time here, welcome to the channel. And make sure you go check it out. We have a whole playlist. Again, every episode from season 1 and 2, plus interviews with Reed Price. We have a couple interviews with him.
Yep.
And that's Rob Shannon. We have an interview with Lindora, who plays Sydney Shannon. We have an interview with Bob Mann, who plays Bob Hollis in this series. Interview with Shelley Thompson, who plays Claire Markiff. Is that everybody?
I'm pretty sure for Sullivan's Crossing, yeah.
I think that's all the Sullivan's people.
We gotta get Faith on at some point.
I know, yeah, Nurse Faith. We haven't actually had Faith on the channel yet. We keep saying we're gonna do that, and then
I think she contributed in some way to like our Thanksgiving video.
She did. She gave us a clip for our Happy Thanksgiving. So if you want to go check that out. But yeah, she's a background actress, and she appeared in both seasons of Sullivan's Crossing 1 and 2 as a nurse. In season 2, she works in the Nova Scotia hospital, not the Boston hospital. So she switched.
I can't wait till the Stocky Maggie.
Right. And she also was in some other scenes as well. Like she was in a restaurant eating in one scene. Also, as you're rewatching, again, we already mentioned, watch out for Jamie Maguire. He's somewhere.
Yeah.
He's somewhere in the background. Redheaded.
I think
Jamie Maguire.
Faith said he was in like one of the camping scenes, outdoors somewhere.
I mean, that's a lot of scenes.
It is. Yeah. I mean, the whole series is basically camping scenes.
And also, Paula Lynn LaFontaine is another background actress who I'm in touch with. Haven't had her on our channel yet, but I've had conversations with her. She's in both seasons of Sullivan's Crossing. And season 3 she's in too, because I remember talking to her when she was filming, so she's going to be in season 3 as well. So I'm going to keep my eyes out for her as I watch.
Okay.
And she's also in From. She's a Colony House resident, very prominent in season 3 of From.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Once you have a picture of who she is in your head, you'll be able to spot her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because she's again. From is doing a good job with their background casting of trying to be mindful of the fact that there's supposed to be a limited number of people that keep reappearing in this town.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like at least from her example, they're doing a great job, better job now in season 3 than they did at the beginning a little bit.
Right.
Because I think she was in all 3 seasons, but she was very prominent in season 3. They're like, oh yeah, let's make sure we bring these same people back week after week to be in these crowds.
Yep. We had Taylor Olson, a random appearance.
Yeah, Taylor Olson lives in From. Who knew?
Yeah.
He had a line. He was credited.
Taylor Olson, who is a director, part of this Nova Scotian set, who appeared in Dawn, Her Dad, and Tractor as well. So.
And he was in The Sinner.
Yeah.
Season 4 that we covered. That Reed Price was in.
Yeah.
And I think he's been in some other stuff. He was in Halloween Party.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And keep his name in your mind. You're gonna see him around in projects.
Yep. All right. Do we have anything else to say before concluding, or?
Go watch them. Go watch seasons 1 and 2, and then come back to rewatch with us episode 210, and then be here for season 3.
All right, we'd like to hear from you. What'd you think of this video? What'd you think of this episode? Stacie, we reached out.
I reached out on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TVN Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, the number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join the Core Productions Facebook page. You can find me on Blue Sky. You can join the Core Productions membership starting at 99 cents a month and buy me a coffee. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Corn Productions, signing off.